We're back at 7:46 this morning, and October was Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and that may be behind us, but the need to support and protect the survivors of abuse is a year-round need. Megan Western sits down with a Milledgeville woman who made the choice to escape abuse and is now sharing her story to help other women do the same.
Today we are joined by Brittany Maria Brown, the author of 3 books addressing domestic violence, detailing her escape and giving a roadmap for how she stayed out of the abusive relationship and later healed. So firstly, thank you so much for joining us in the studio today to talk about such a hard topic. Before we really dive in, talk to us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I was born in Milledgeville, Georgia. I went to school in Baldwin High School. I graduated from there and I went to Albany State University. I did criminal justice, bachelor's in that. I became a truck driver for 3 years. North Carolina, I was living there. And I came back home to see my family, and I just decided to stay, and that's pretty much my little background story of myself.
Yeah, we love talking to local people who are doing amazing things. Obviously, we're here to talk about 3 books that you have written, obviously detailing your experience with domestic violence. Go ahead and start with the first book for us. What's the title, and what do people gain from reading that?
My first book is Spiritual Chain Breakers, A Journey to Freedom from Toxic Love. It's pretty much bringing awareness. It talks about my past a little bit, but it's more of bringing awareness and learning how the behaviors of a toxic person, and to be able to differentiate of being in a relationship with someone like that or not. And also talks about how to get out of the relationship and what to do and what not to do. It talks about emotional, spiritual, and physical abuse, what it means, because a lot of people are in a relationship, in toxic relationship, but don't know it. Yeah. They think it's love, but those type of behavior are not love. We are made in God's image, and we are supposed to be loved, not being tarnished and being belittled, low self-esteem. And that's all it brings is your self-esteem low. So that's the reason I wrote the book, because I've been through it and how it made me feel. So I'm just out here trying to get that out.
Yeah, one of the hardest steps for many people is to actually break the cycle and to fully leave.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about, why that can be so hard, or, how you detail that being a hard experience.
Most of the time, being in a relationship, we want to be loved. That's the main point, the purpose. And when we don't know, or being in an environment of growing up, seeing things we think is love, we'll try kind of attract things in our lives just like that, and it's what we think love is. But love don't hurt. Love is patient and kind. If you have that in your life, patient and kindness, that's love. That's God's love. But if you have someone that's belittling you, abusing you, and talking to you a different type of way instead of love, that's not love. That's why I think we be in type of those relationships.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about your second book. Tell us the title of that and kind of how you navigate the reader through that.
My second book is Spiritual Chain Breakers, Bound in the Spirit. Pretty much, it's more of, we're not just fighting the physical world, we're fighting the spiritual world. And sometimes, I'm going to spiritual, but sometimes spirits operate through people to get you to a point where God have a purpose for you. And most of the time, when people come in your life, they're there to stop your destiny. They'll drain your confidence, they drain your life. And next thing you know, you don't have no motivation anymore. And that's behind the spiritual realm. Sometimes we in a relationship, we think this person loves us and this is who we're supposed to be with, even though we have children by them. That doesn't mean that's your one. They're really there to operate through the spirit to bring you down. So that's what the spiritual chain breakers, Bound in the Spirit is about, is to recognize the spiritual world of how it's not through the people, your co-workers, your friends, is spirits operate through them.
Yeah.
Yes, that's more it's about.
Yeah, obviously you're just talking about, family, coworkers, friends. Talk a little bit about the importance of having support when you're going through something like this.
It's very important to have someone, because when I was going through it, my sister was there. She was telling me, hey, why you come home?
Yeah.
But as me, being stubborn that I was, I didn't have the Lord in my life to guide me at the time. I stayed because that's what I thought love was, because in my past, that's what I saw of love. So Having support from your church, your friends, is a big must. And they have to have positivity, and also they have to have Christ in their life, because you can't talk to someone that's going to tell you, no, he loves you. That's not a friend.
Yeah.
Because you know your friend is talking to you, telling you that he's hurting me. You're not going to say stay. You have to tell them to find a way to get out.
Yeah.
So you have to have those type of people around you, because as we know in John 10:10, thief comes here to steal, kill, and destroy. And they will steal your confidence and try their best to kill your destiny God has for you.
Right. Talk a little bit about some other important resources or just information that people should know when they're trying to navigate an environment like this.
My first book, actually, Toxic Love, have the resources on the back of the book of places you can call, shelters. Even if you need a restraining order, there's a number of resources you have in the back that you can call, because it's very important to know where to go when you going through that type of situation. A lot of people think is no help out there. There's a lot of help out there. There's shelters out there that helps people that's going through that. So, like I said, that book has all that back there.
Yeah, and lastly, let's get into the third book. Tell us kind of, what is that about? What's the title of that?
That one is Spiritual Chain Breakers, because it's a series of forgiveness, the power of forgiveness. Because at the end of the day, we have to forgive ourselves to be able to forgive others. That's the most important, because we thinking that forgiveness is hard. Yeah. It is a process. It's not going to happen in a day. Things happen to us through kids, through growing up in life. We have to learn how to just forgive so we can be able to heal. God says that He won't forgive you unless you forgive others. So you have to forgive others and yourself, because you can't forgive others, you don't forgive yourself first. Yeah. A lot of people put a lot of stress on themselves because of they thinking that it's their fault or they made it happen or whatnot. It keeps you in a stronghold, it keeps you in a box, and you won't be able to live the life that God has for you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for all of your vulnerability and all the amazing resources that you're providing through these books. Of course, remember that domestic violence awareness is a year-round mission. Advocates remind you to stand in support. If you see something, please say something and offer your support to others. Now, to get more details about Brittany Maria Brown's books, you can visit the website that you're seeing on your screen, spiritualchainbreakers.com.